this module on HTML5 course from Technify. So let's get started. In our last I'll have my browser and editor open. In our last section, we talked up to text and the various ways you can format it. Today we would like to look at lists and tables. So let's refer back to our basic template. So basically what I want to do is I don't want to delete anything. I want to copy this and then create another this and call it list dash tables.html. So what I'll basically do is I'll paste the contents there and then take out everything, and then remember is now on a new part, so I'll replace whatever we have here with that, and then I've not saved, that's why it's not showing. So I have HTML5 course. So this is much like a basic template that we're going to be using. So in this we'll be talking about lists and tables. Okay, let's start with so I can put an h2 tag. We have lists, and then we talk about tables in this segment. So basically I will talk about three kinds of lists. The first one is the unordered list. So unordered list, we mark it with a UL tag. So I have my UL tag, and then inside this UL tag, UL stands for unordered list. So inside this UL tag, I will put each list is a list item, so I will wrap it in a list li tag. So maybe I want to make list of let's say ingredients. Let me say salt. The ingredient for this meal is salt, and then I have another li copy. So I have a okay, let's call it seasoning. This part we call it Maggi. Everything is Maggi. So we have onion, then we have pepper. We also have as many as you can. Let's add water, it's part of it. So this is another list. You can see it will basically display a bullet list of whatever you have made. Each bullet is for each content in the list items. So my recorder is really hanging it. So that's how we make another list. Okay, before we go to the ordered list, I want to introduce the concept of comments, because I want to add a comment to this. Basically, comments are a lines of codes or scripts that your application does not interpret. The browser basically overlooks them. So how we add comment is you have the less than sign, and then a pound, and then 2 dash, and then 2 dash and a greater than sign. So whatever you put in here will be ignored. So for example, I can put unordered list, so but is ignored by the browser. So when I refresh, you can see that the page remains the same. So that is not showing here does not mean that people can't users of your website can't see it. For example, when they view source, they will be able to see this comment. So it's not a place for you to hide like seek informations that shouldn't be public. For example, someone can basically right click and then select a view source. So when the person views source, you can see that the comment is right there. So the comment is right there, so it's don't think is not visible. It's just that for on the surface there is not there. So this is another list. The next one I will want to talk about is the ordered list. Ordered list. So it's almost the same thing, but we use the OL tag, which stands for ordered list, and then in between the list item you specify whatever items you want. For example, I can say let's say write the budget. I can now say go to the market, buy the items, and say pick up the kids, prepare meals. Okay, let's just say this like maybe can be to do or what you need to do. So this is the you have put everything in ordered list. So let's see how it's being rendered. You see that these are numbered lists. You can see that these are numbered lists 1 to 3. So the default is to use numbers. So you can see that they are numbered. So that's the difference. This is just bullets unordered, but this is ordered. It has 1, 2, 3. You can also, maybe you don't you need to change this. You can also pass a type attribute here to this. When you pass a type attribute, specify the type of numbering you want. Maybe, of course, when you put 1, that means use 1, 2, 3. Use 1, 2, 3, which is the default that is using. You can pass I, that means use a small lowercase of Roman numeral. So that's what is doing there. You can also pass a capital letter A, use alphabets. That's what is going on there. And then you can also pass capital letter I, that's use uppercase of the Roman numeral. So that's what goes on there. So that's how we make ordered list. Another way we can make this unordered list usually comes in handy maybe when we are doing on the section on web layout. You see how it's used to lay out the navigation links of a website. So the next one is the definition list. So let's have it. Data definition list. So data definition list, that's just my slang. So it starts with the DL tag, and then in between you pass the item that you specify the item. Let's say what do we use? Say cook. Then we define it, cook the best cook in the best cook in Songo Ota, Lagos. Stay in Songo Ota. So we can, let me close this up. So we can basically repeat this for as many as we so desire. You can say cakes, the best cake in Songwater. So I just want to give you an idea of can say book, the best book in Songwater. So this is how this is rendered. So you can see the way it is rendered. So you can see cook. This is the data description that we are given to this. So this is the term and this is the description that is being attached to it. So that's basically walk through 3 kinds of lists. So that's how we use lists and define lists in HTML5. The next one is to walk through tables. Let's say you want to display tables in your website. So this is how it goes. Basically, tables have rows. Rows are when you are moving from the horizontal, on the horizontal from left to right or right to left. That's the rows. And then columns are from in the vertical direction. That's from top to down or down to top. So basically, rows define, every row is a record, and then every column is a field. So that's how tables are arranged. So for us to define a table, first of all, we use the table tag. You use the table tag. Now in this table, the first thing we want to define is we want to define the head of the table. I want to take this from basic to the, I don't want to like do and then make modifications. And then we want to define the heading of the table and then the body of the table. So we define the heading as the T head. So this is the heading of the table, and then this is the T body. This is the body of the table. And then in the heading, we may want to define maybe table head or maybe just a row. So of course the heading will be a row that contains the fields that I need. So this is how we define a row, table row. Then inside the row, each row, you are going to have the fields. Of course the heading is already that. So inside that we are going to have our table data. So we have our, this is the first table data. Let's say I want items, and then the next thing I have is I have quantity, and then I have let's say I have price, and then I have total. So basically what we are doing is that we are defining a table head, and in the table head we are defining a row, which is this TR here. Inside this row we are defining 4 columns. The first column is defined with this table data, the second one with this table data, and then the third one with this table data, the fourth one, which is the total, with this table data. When we view this is what we get. So we have these items, quantity, price, and then the total. That's what we get in this table. Now we go to the body to define in the body we go there to define the contents of this. So for the body is the table row, you define a row. For this row, what do you want to put? Table data, which is let's say the ingredient that we spoke about before. Let's say salt. I have my salt, and then the quantity is the second field. The quantity is think that's the first one. The quantity is 2, and then the quantity is 2, and then the price is let me say 80. So if that be the case, the total is going to be 2 times 80, 160. So this is I've defined one row. Let me save it now that it's still small. So I've defined one row. You can see the salt, the quantity, the price, and then the total is there. So I can define another row. Just want to copy this. You can give yourself some space so that it's easier. Maybe the next one is seasoning. For this seasoning, maybe the quantity is just 1, and then the price is 100 naira, and then that will be 100 naira as well. Here is 160 naira. I can do the same for onions. And maybe say I need 8, and then 1 is 10 naira or 20 naira, and then the total price is times 8, 16, 160. So when we do this, we've gotten our items there. So this is how we display our tables. So you basically have to define the row, and then define the various fields that you want to be in your table. So that's basically it about tables. If you have any question, please do let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Alright guys, you're welcome back. In the last section we left off here. So in this one, let's talk about some styling to wrap up this segment. So I will still continue with this list. What I'll do is I want to create a paragraph here. Let's add styles to it, and then I want to create a paragraph. I think let me write a short story. My grandmother gave me a nice pet. Well, let's save the typing time. So whatever content you have in your website will do. I just want to generate something that can fill the page. So when we refresh, we have our paragraph displayed here. We want to look at how we can apply some styles we can apply to this paragraph, aside the ones we've already shown. How we can maybe bold it, italicize it, how we can apply some styles. So CSS HTML has these style attributes, so I can specify my styles there. The first one I want to do is I want to change the background color, background dash color. I want the background color to be just random stuff. Let me say gray. No, let me say blue. And then I want the text color, that's the color, to be white. So let's see how that each one we apply, we check it. So you can see that the background color is blue and the text is white. So what else can we apply? Let's say we want the width. You can see the way this paragraph is spanning through 100%. We will talk more about that aspect later. So let's say I want the width, maybe it's too wide for me. I want the width to be, let me say 200, usually 200 pixels. So pixels is the unit of measurement, although it's not general, it depends on the screen resolution that you have. So maybe, so let's see that in effect. So you can see that the width of the paragraph is reduced to 200 pixels. And then maybe I want the height of this paragraph to be 500 pixels. So I can change the height. You see the height is now 500 pixels. Maybe I can, the text, I don't like the way they are, so we have this text align. Just this text align, it can be center, it can be left, it can be aligned right, justify. So I can say left, and then when I save and refresh, it's already left. And then you can say right, and then right. So it's now right. You can say justify. I believe we already know the effect of some of these things: left align, right align, justified. Sorry, what transpired? So align, where are we? Sorry for that. Justify, text align, justify. So you can see it has justified it. What else? We can also set the font size. I'm actually not intending to make the paragraph look colorful. My aim is to show the use of various stylings so you can just play with some of these things until you get what is nice and perfect for you. And one thing you can do is that next time you visit a website, try and see if you can detect what configurations or what styles they applied to their text. So font size, I can make it, let's say 20 pixels. So the font size is now going to be, you can see is now bigger. You can choose to make it maybe 2 pixels. So you can see almost is invisible. So let's make it 22 pixels to come up again. So that's what we have. So let's just turn it to 16 pixels. So you can also specify this in percentage. So you can specify in percentage. You can specify with EM and REM. So those are relative font sizes. So and so forth and so on. So we've applied some basic styles to our paragraph. There's also text decoration. So we have let's say I want to underline it. So the text decoration you want is underline. System is a bit slow, maybe it's because of the recorder. So you can see that the text is now underlined. So these are various what they call it, that you can configure. So basically we have maybe another thing I want to pass is I want to set the margin. I want to set the margin to be 15 pixel. Although this is not a CSS class, but it doesn't hurt anybody if you know. So you can see that it has moved away. So the margin is basically there are 3 things or 4 things you need. So you have the space between the content of the paragraph and the edge is what is referred to as the padding, and then the space between the border and any other element around it is what is called the margin, and then the in between at the extreme of the content is the borders. So you have the margin. That's since this paragraph is a direct child of the body element, so it's going to shift 15 pixels from that. So see, nothing stops us from taking this to the next line. We can all take this to the next line to make the work neat, and the same effect will be applied. So we can set the padding. Maybe we need more space, we can set it to 20 pixels, and then maybe we need let's see padding first. So you can see it has put space between the extreme and then the content. Maybe I can now put the border. So I can say border width. How large do I want my border to be? Let's say I need it to be, let me say 4, so that it's obvious. 4 pixels. Maybe I can say border color. Border color. Let me say green. It's not the best color. I can say border style, say solid. You can make it dashed, you can make it blue, so you can see a green border outside it. So this is how you can style elements. So during the CSS section we'll work more on the styling. So this is how you can apply basic styles to your HTML elements. Some elements have some specific, for example, for this you may want to style it. Let's say you don't need let's say there's this styling that is list style. You can say none, and then you will see that my system is really hanging. So when I refresh, you will see that the styles, those numbers are gone because I set the list style to none. I can say okay, basically I wouldn't want this to be gone. I may want to apply it in this scenario. Am I breaking anything? Yes, I've broken something. So when I do that, you see that the list style is gone. You may want to set the list style to disk, maybe another style. Don't like that, so you have that. I think there's also square. Set the list style to square. You can see that's square like. So these are the different this thing you can apply. So basically let's just play on something now. Let's just play on something and then set display to inline. So just watch out how the list items will be displayed. Sorry. Basically, if I not on the another list on this, I've broken something again. Just before we round up, I just want us to okay, I didn't break anything. So you can see that these have been lined up, so repeating this may not really, it's not the most efficient way to do that. So since I've already removed the distance there, so you can see that what I will want to apply here is I want a padding that is 20 pixels. So these are just basic style you can do with your HTML5. So it has a padding, and then I also, okay, to see the effect of the padding, let me put background and color to be gray, so that you see the effect of the padding. So let me take out without padding. This is how it is. Without padding, this is how it is. Sorry, oh, the padding is already there. So let me save. So this is what you have with that padding. Now I have padding of 20 pixels, so it has added padding around it. So now what I want to do is to display this as, I also want to have a padding so that there will be space for these elements. Let me say a padding of 5 pixels on this, and I want this to, I'm about to break another thing. So I want this to be all through, all the way for every element, every list. I want every list to have that styling to be displayed in line. So you can see that we have changed our list. So we have styled it so that it's now in horizontal format. Basically, the display property, there are elements will usually fall under whether they are inline or they are block elements. Every element can be described as that inline or block. By default, these list items are block elements, and then inline means you want them to just occupy the space. You want the elements to just take up as much space as it can. We'll talk more about it later. So that's it. I've been able to use some basic stylings to change this, and this is usually what you want to do with CSS, not with HTML, but the goal is to open us up to some of these stylings that are available, so that you don't just write HTML that are just blank as you are starting out. So I think that's it for this. So if you like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and then if you have any question, put it in the comments, and then also in the platform, and I will do our best to answer you. Thank you, and bye for now.